Sankalpita and you're watching BookGeeks India, which is a channel where I make book-related videos. So guys, if you like books, if you love reading, make sure you subscribe to my channel, like and share my videos, turn that notification on, and guys, please do comment because you know it that I love it when you comment. So guys, in this video I bring to you my last month's reading wrap-up, which is basically August month's reading wrap-up. And to tell you about it all, I read 10 books last month. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first book which I read was this one, Sudeep Nagarkar's Our Story Needs No Filter. So this is basically a romance story set in a political scenario. The story involves two people, Raghu and Ruhi, who have a romance building up and which is marred by political upheavals in their university. So what happens when love is stalled by politics, when love is marred by politics? And that is all to know in this story. It's an easy read, so if you're looking for something on love, friendship and a little bit of politics, this can be your next read. Guys, the next book which I read is this one, On India by Khushwant Singh, and this is a book which was sent to me by the publisher, and this is a collection of essays on India by Khushwant Singh. So these essays have been written over a period of decades. So the thing which sets this book apart is that you get to know a lot of things about different decades. So for example, what was India like in 1960s and 1970s, 80s and so on. So I like this book for that unique perspective, but overall it's an ordinary read. So I don't know if people will enjoy it. Probably people who like Khushwant Singh's writing will enjoy it, and people who are looking for light non-fiction essays can enjoy it, but this is an okay read. The next book which I read is this one, Moongfali by Neha Singh and Mukesh Chhabra, and illustrated by Sonal Gupta Vaswani. So this is a children's book and it's a collection of stories, various stories based in India, based on Indian characters. If you are a child or if you have a child between the ages 7 to 12, you can probably get your hands on this book because I actually like this book. The thing which strikes me the most about this book is that the Indianness of the characters will appeal to you, especially to Indian readers of course, and the illustrations are beautiful. They are just beautiful. So that's what I liked about this book, and also the fact that each story has a underlined moral value. Stories are not based on moral values, but when you read the story you would understand that each story drives the children towards a good value. So that is what I liked most about this book. The next book which I read is this one, When Bread Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi, and this was recommended to me by one of my regular viewers, Anand. Thank you so much for this book. I think this is the best book that I read last month. It's a true story of a doctor based in US who suffered from lung cancer. So this book was basically written by Paul during his last few months. So he talks about his life right from his childhood up to the event leading up to the last few days of his life, and it's a sad story, but it's profound. So lovers of non-fiction, lovers of biographies, this is a must recommended one. For me, what sets this book apart from other biographies is that it offers a unique perspective from a doctor's point of view, and the language which he has used is beautiful, it's poetic, and it's just profound, like I told you. The next book which I read was one of my Kindle picks for nighttime reading, and I picked up Harappa, Curse of the Blood River by Vineet Bajpayee. Now this was just a random pick. I did not think about it when I picked this book, but I was like, and actually I wanted to read this for my nighttime reading, but it was so engrossing, so compelling that I had to finish it in daytime. So this was a really great read. So the book is basically a historical fiction set in different timelines. So one is 2017, the current era, and one is in the Harappan time, which is like 3500 BC. So there is an ancient curse which binds the bloodline of the last Devta of the Harappan age. So now the bloodline continues, and the last Devta on earth who is alive today has to deal with it. So this is a story that connects 2017 and 3500 BC in a thrilling way. This is the first part of the book, so the author leaves you at a cliffhanger position in the last page, but nevertheless it's a completely compelling and entertaining read. The next book which I read last month was Last Train to Istanbul by A.C. Kulin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right. She's a Turkish writer and one who's so popular that her books are frequently translated into English. So I picked this book again on Kindle for my nighttime reading, and this proved out to be a really good read. Why? Because it's a story of love, separation, loss and pain, and second because it's a historical novel set in the World War II scenario. So there's a staunch Turkish family whose daughter runs away with a Jew, a Turkish Jew, and flees to France. But just after a couple of months, Hitler arrives in France and the secret police starts rounding up all the Jews from there. So what happens in that scenario? What will happen to the Jews of France, especially to the couple in question, is what this story is all about, and it's a delightful read. The next book which I read is a chick lit, I Quit by Zareen Khan, and this is the story of a girl Nimisha who leaves her job and goes on a sabbatical because she's just fed up of running the rat race for all these years, and what she experiences after that during the sabbatical is what all this book is all about. But the best thing about this book is its characters and the funny and hilarious style of writing which the author is really good at. So if you're a chick lit lover, you should read this book. It is really good. The next book which I read is Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith. Now this book was sent to me as a part of the Booklink Crates May subscription box. I think it was April. I think it was May. I don't know. So anyhow, it was sent to me by the Booklink Crates subscription box, and this was a part of that. And finally, I thought I will read this. So this is the story of a guy and girl, Teddy and Alice is in love with his best friend Teddy, but Teddy is not aware of it. And one fine day when things are still complicated for Alice, Teddy wins a lottery. So how the equation changes, how their friendship and love changes as a result of the lottery is what this book is about. It's a young adult novel, a genre which I went back to after a really long time. And though it's a slow read, I still liked it. The next book which I read is What Kitty Did, and I think this is the second best book which I read last month. So this is again a chick lit. So this is again a very funny story, entertaining, compelling, everything you can call it. So this is the story of Kitty, basically Ketaki, who has all these issues, who is a damsel in distress, and it's a nice read. It's a really nice read. The next book which I read, and which is also the last book which I read last month, is Untying the Fine Knots by Madhuri. Now this is a book which is a non-fiction read on divorce. So this book is meant for people who are undergoing divorce or are soon going to be dealing with divorce. So how to cope with divorce, how to cope up with everything that comes with divorce is what this book is about. It's a self-help book in a sense, but it's much more than that. So that's it from me, guys. Those are the 10 books which I read last month in August. And do let me know which books did you read and how many books did you read. I would love to know about your reading wrap-up as well. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit that like button. Also share it with your friends and family. And until the next video, which will be pretty soon, bye-bye.